I'm Julie.
And I'm Melanie.
And we're Moms on a Mission,
empowered to bring abundance to our families.
So,
hey, before we do this, can we pray real quick?
Yes, that's great. Do we want to not do it on camera?
I don't
Or on camera?
It doesn't matter to me. Not.
I love how it smells. It's the one I like to put in my house when my kids are really farty.
Yep.
When there's been too many bean nights in a
That's
row.
what you
And I
need to
just
say.
want to apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry guys, so instead I'll put it in my little diffuser.
Ready, set.
I thought we were already going.
Oh.
We've just been talking this whole
Okay.
time.
We want to include a fun new thing to Braid Girls, and that is we want to tell you about some of our favorite essential oils. My favorite is lemon, and partially because that's my mom's favorite scent, so I grew up smelling it on my mom all the time. So when I smell it, I always think of home, so it's comforting, and it's also very uplifting. So in the winter, when you're struggling with all of the dark gray days and you feel like there's no out, break out any kind of a citrus oil and it will brighten things up so much. So we just wanted to share that with you, and hopefully you can use that as a tip in your home as well.
Okay, I'm Julie.
And I'm Melanie.
And today we're going to talk about income streams on the farm. And first off, I think a really important distinction to make is that farming is not the same as homesteading. Traditionally, homesteading was about living on a piece of property long enough that the government will give you that land for free, and so it was kind of squatting. It was not a money-making venture. It was just a way to earn land. And today, homesteading is kind of the same way. Your goal in homesteading is to create a living situation for your family where you're closer to the land, where you're raising your own food, and you're being more self-reliant. So that's really what homesteading is about. Now, if you're really focused on profit from the land, you would be doing farming. If that's your end goal, is to make money from the land, I would start with homesteading, because homesteading allows you to develop the skills that would tell you, this is what I want to go into when I start farming. We also wanted to talk about buying land, but connected with that is that there are ways to actually farm and make money without buying land. Curtis Stone, he's here on YouTube, and he is a market gardener with a CSA, and he started out not owning land. What he would do is he would go and rent people's backyards and turn them into intensive farms, and then he would use that income to go rent more pieces of land. And a lot of the people who let him use their backyard, actually, he didn't rent from them, he just gave them vegetables that he had grown. And so that's how he started out.
It's so inspiring.
Right? It's amazing that you can be intuitive and creative with it in a way to work for yourself. So if you're looking for your perfect homestead, the very most important thing that you need to look at first is whether or not you have water. And in the West, that includes a water right, and you want it to be available all during the growing season. You also want to check that there is a well with the home and that it has been tested for potability. You want to make sure it's not heavy on nitrates or anything like that if it was used as a farm previously.
And some places, like in Arizona, the wells have a lot of fluoride in them. So that's another thing to watch out for, because the kids actually have weird looking teeth from too much fluoride, which can be really harmful to you.
Yeah, it's the first thing you check on, water quality.
Yeah.
Can you get it? The second thing is that you need to have outbuildings. Whatever animal it is that you think you want to be raising, you need that. Or if you're going to raise grain, you need to make sure you have a silo, and you need to make sure that all the equipment that you need to be able to get that product from the field to the silo is available. Then you need to check and make sure there's a market available. Is there a market locally for you to be able to sell that commodity, and what price is it getting? And then the last thing, it's sad, but it's the very last thing you look at, is the house. Is it in good repair?
Yeah.
Is it big enough for your family? Are the walls insulated? It really is the least important thing you look at if you're trying to farm and you want to make a profit and you want to actually rely on it as your income.
And I think there's ways to do it without loans. There's a lot of new organic farmers that have found, you can do a CSA or, crowdfunding and different things like that. So I think there's more options now than just having to go the traditional route. There's so many different ways now that you can establish yourself on a farm. And you can, we've looked at tiny houses and we've looked at a yurt, and there's so many different things that you can do. And not that we would do any of that long term, but it would get you in and get you started without that great big debt. So I think all the options are really fun.
What is the name of the guy? John Claude something. The Market Gardener. He just did a new book, and they started out in a rabbit hutch. They did.
Oh, wow.
They had like this building that had been used to commercially raise rabbits, and they could buy it as agriculture because it was purely agriculture. There wasn't a house on it, so they could get a perfect loan for it. And so they revised this rabbit barn into their living spaces in Canada. It was cold there.
Wow.
And it took them 3 years to fix the house up, but in the meantime, they were making their own living off the land.
Yeah.
There are people who are making it on small pieces. People like Elliot Coleman or Curtis Stone or the Market Gardener. So there's 3 of them, and there's more. But these people all did an extensive training and extensive study and started with zero money doing this. They started out, the Market Gardener, he started out just as a woofer. He went and learned how to farm, and they did it for like 8 years. And then they rented a property and did it for another couple years. And then they went and bought their property once they already knew how to farm. They knew exactly how to do it. They had apprenticed to people who made a living doing this. They were not just greenhorns.
Yeah. Well, that's why homesteading can be such a perfect lead into that, because you can learn on a scale that's actually manageable. You can learn there's so much you can learn just from a garden, see what you enjoy growing and see what grows well in that soil, and then test out, and maybe you don't like alpacas, and there's so many different things that you can learn on such a small scale. So it's the perfect foot in the door if you intend to make money off of it.
And while you still have an income.
Right.
So that you're not strained. It's very hard on a family to be starving.
Yes.
That's not so much fun.
Go for it.
The reason I love permaculture is because it puts the correct mentality in your mind. You have zones around your house.
Yeah.
The most intensive care things need to be right next to your house, and then outside that you can have things that are less intensive, all the way out to places that you just don't go. You don't tend to them. You let them be. And I so believe that homesteading is meant to be with permaculture. And that you make it as easy on yourself as you can, as productive as you can, closest to your house, and let it cycle out there a little bit.
Yeah, I think that it's just the more you learn about how things work together, it's just a kind of a natural, they just fit together, homesteading and permaculture. It just makes so much sense.
They're layered. They're meant to be systems that feed into each other. And the more you can get your systems to feed into each other, then the less money and work you have to put into it. We have lots of living fences that I grow, and people are like, why are you growing a living fence? And it's like, well, it keeps my food really close to my rabbits. As it grows more than I want it to, I go out and clip the living fence and feed it to the rabbits. And I go out and I go to my swale, and I have lots of plants out there, and it's the only thing that I weed is my swale. And so I go out and weed my swale. I pull all those weeds and chicory and alfalfa up, and I feed it to my rabbits. And because I have them up there, I have rabbits up there now because my swale is there. I have my rabbits there, so I can feed them easily next to each other. The more research you can do, the easier your life will be.
And when you're trying to manage so many different things, and you're trying to be a mom and trying to homeschool and trying to eat healthy and then trying to take on animals and a garden,
makes you a mean wife. The mean wife comes out, and it's really hard on the husband or the wife.
That's why the permaculture makes so much sense, because you go and you put a system in place so that it takes care of itself.
Yeah.
And that's just...
You don't have to babysit it.
Yeah, we have enough things to babysit.
We have enough things to babysit. I think that a better alternative maybe to being an intensive farmer is to find another income stream. Take your skills, whatever they may be, and make a living with them. If you're crafty, open an Etsy store. If you like to talk to people in front of a camera, do a YouTube channel. But those kind of things, like Esther Emery, she is a writer. She has a blog and she's also writing a book. And if you're really, really good at computer stuff, if you want to homestead and you really want to be off the grid somewhere out in no man's land, having an income stream that is not dependent on roads to get a product to somebody, besides maybe taking something to a post office to send off if you're making crafts and stuff. But not trying to get a product to a market that's near you, but taking your product to people that are all over the world, in my opinion, is the best current day way to do what you love on both ends, to bring in an income stream that is something you love, but also to homestead so that you're eating well and you're saving. Because in my opinion, as far as homesteading goes, it's about saving money. So thanks for coming and watching this video with us. We are really hoping you're enjoying Braid Girls. If you have any other questions you'd like to ask, make sure and leave them in the comments below. I have a website that we're working on right now so that people can actually FaceTime with us and ask the questions. But make sure to subscribe to our channel, subscribe to Melanie's channel, like our videos. It makes a huge difference when you share them. And we'll talk to you later.
Oh, and Julie is doing a new collaboration on my channel.
Oh, that's right.
So, on Sunday, she does her awesome Spotlight Sunday, but after you finish watching that, watch that first, then come over and check out my channel so you can see her pretty face over on my channel.
Yeah, and it's going to be super fun. Do we want to explain to them how they asked to be part of it?
No, just come check it out.
Okay, come check it out. Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Bye. Okay, do you think that's going to work?
I think that was perfect how you interrupted me.